those who have joined, uh, thought some of the things we can touch upon, uh, because Sean made a very clear statement. It's he asked right away what has to be done. So the key thing is finding out the negotiable and non-negotiable aspects of our life first. Then automatically the priority list stems from the negotiable and non-negotiable things. So we have to see, like how we take breakfast, lunch, dinner, like how we take bath or go to washroom, how we do our personal grooming. Even if it's going for a morning walk, people spend time to look good and then step out for a walk, fully knowing well they have to come back and again take a bath. But still, you spend some time for yourself. So, once the first step which we can all do is make a list of these negotiable and non negotiable things. And the reason why we are asked to do this, those of you who are studying the essential yoga, now we can recall 2 days back, there are always two things in the world. One is steady, the other is moving. If you just look at the floor is steady so that we can move. Even in many relationships, if we notice, the one is steady, meaning the one is ready to hold, or maybe a sponge or a punching bag, while the other goes about living the life around the person. You see any steady partnerships, it is always one holds the fort and one plays it. It's like people who have played sports, tennis doubles or a shuttle badminton doubles, not a single. People who have played team sport clearly know that they cannot do everything in life, but to be relevant to the sport or relevant to the team, they don't give up on things which they only can do. That is the non-negotiable things which nobody in the team can replicate what they do. So like that, we have to ask ourselves, which are the things which I'm just not going to give up for anybody. Remember, you came alone and we will depart alone. Every relationship is just like a train journey. They have joined us at one station. Some will depart. Sometimes we will depart and others continue. So it's just a journey. And in the journey, we don't need clones. We should not get into that batch processed mentality. Like, why not we think that we are a Rolls Royce, which is made to order? It takes months to make it. The truth is, all of us are Rolls Royce because each of us is unique. We have been sculpted uniquely by the cosmos and our karma. So when you become very clear that you are not a clone of anything, including the parents or your spouse or your close friends, this emergence of this non-negotiable and negotiable things would come in. Then the negotiable things are the area where your relationships come into the place. So in modern terminology, we tell people, give me my space. That word is there, right? I'm feeling very suffocated in a relationship. Meaning, we enter into a non-negotiable zone of someone. That's the actual meaning. We entered into the space of someone who they don't want to give up. So once we get this negotiable and non-negotiable aspects of our life reasonably clear, like very clear, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, cucumber doesn't suit me, milk is allergic, you don't take things which don't suit you. Remember one thing, there is nothing wrong with milk or cucumber, it just doesn't suit you. So when you see about this negotiable and non-negotiable, this cucumber and milk will be a no-no for you because they create some allergy symptoms. Why it is important to tell is, if we don't understand this, we may start hating people who are trying to, without knowledge, out of good intention or curiosity, trying to infringe on our non-negotiable area. So we should have some compassion and first understand they didn't make that list, they didn't attend a session, they are not in the path to do anything. They are just with you in life. How in the world you expect them to know that you are embarked on a different way of understanding your life and yourself? That's trying to expect too much out of yourself and others. Correct? Like trying to make a tomato plant thinking that it's a brinjal. Brinjal is brinjal, tomato is tomato, eggplant, right? So you are having a non-negotiable list. It doesn't mean others will know and they will act accordingly. So that is where this negotiable stuff comes in, correct? Where you can give and take. Like remember a signal, when you go in the road, it's a give. The signal is given green, then you can move. So you need to have certain gives, like even in our meetings we say givers gain. So some of these negotiable things you should have genuinely the ability to give up and give also. So that is the way we try to develop the priorities. Once these negotiable and non-negotiable things are reasonably clear, then the priorities of our life will become clear. And as Shrini and Vijayalakshmi clearly mentioned, that we will start taking one thing at a time. Remember, though we call it Windows is a operating system where many things can be done in the same time, at any given time you can work only in one window. Even now, how many of us are here? For clarity, at least only one person can talk at a time. So don't get tricked into this multitasking. Those words are very good to listen to. What is multitasking is doing one thing very perfect at a time and the ability to do multiple things like that. So that we have to be very clear. So the priority list will emerge from your negotiable and non-negotiable stuff. It will emerge. And then these kind of activities, the non-negotiable thing should be the body, because we may have ambitions, desires, but unless there is health in the body, nothing of it can be achieved. By the time you achieve, you might have become diabetic, you might have been hit with arthritis. So all the hard work of 40 years, 50 years, the time you want to reap the benefit, because you didn't give time to the body, it starts giving up. So then you will think, why I was slogging all these years? For whom are you slogging? Correct? So the physical aspect of the body has to be given equal importance like the spiritual aspect, because the tradition doesn't see things differently. Correct? Suppose you are angry inside, it expresses as an action outside. So the seed is always inside. External thing is only an expression. So this physical aspect of life, like health, proper exercise, a good routine, hygiene, all that is first building block, which should be part of the non-negotiable things. Second is the emotional side. So in the emotional side, we have to say that when Lydia said, I am a crier, only triers can be criers. The one who doesn't try has no reason to cry. So it is good to be a trier, and then we tried and we have not able to do and we cried. Because who told only men cannot cry? Has anyone said that men cannot cry? Don't they have glands in the eyes which also need to be moistened? So when you start questioning one small word which we speak, we have to question both sides also. So remember, when you say I am a crier, it means you are a trier, T-R-I-E-R. You tried. So when you try your best, sometimes it comes up, and when it comes up as per your plan also, you will cry. When it doesn't come as per your plan also, you will cry. That is your natural mental state. Correct? So from the mind comes the emotions. Understand? Mind is the fertile bed of all these samskaras, the seeds. And we should be very clear. We don't need to feel apologetic that I am an emotional person. It's absolutely okay. That means you are a sensitive person. So maybe instead of pouring out like a waterfall, try to regulate it like coming out of a tap. That's it. But don't stop pouring out. That means you are not trying to harness, that is your strength. So when we handle sessions on doing the SWOT analysis for leaders, it is always better to focus on the strength, because what you think the mind will become. So if you constantly think of the weakness, the mind is meditating on the weakness, wherein you are gifted with the strength. So work with the strength, so the weakness becomes like a shadow. And let us be very clear, all of us will have our own strengths and weaknesses. We are not machines, right? Even such Toyota cars had to be recalled. They have precision engineering. Quality wise, they are the best. But don't they recall BMW, Audi, Benz cars back? So are we so perfect? So why should we punish ourselves? So it is okay to feel, yeah, I tend to cry. I tend to laugh. I tend to show my emotions. Absolutely okay. But remember, sometimes we have to taper it. Like a tap is needed to allow that emotions to go, and it is at that precise practice mindfulness comes in handy, because mindfulness will immediately give you a hint you are about to get emotional. This external word is about to get you angry. So what you should do, you have to step back, and it is not easy. Always remember, you are walking on a path, not the other person. So we will have a lot of lessons, and we'll take back certain things from sessions like this, and suddenly mind will get into a very loftier state. It will start seeing world in a different view. World is the same. The one who is scolding you is continuing to scold you. Sometimes the parents still think we don't know what we are doing with life. You can't change all that, because you are doing certain things. It doesn't mean you don't assume others are also going to understand the way we have understood life. So what is going to happen is, you have to understand the mind, very, very important. For that, this awareness and mindfulness will happen. Then we start understanding that it's absolutely okay to be vulnerable. It's absolutely okay to be strong. It's absolutely okay to fail, because then we realize the value of success and you can come back. If we don't give that opportunity through mindfulness, we put too much expectations to succeed in every single activity. How is it possible? All of us see the example of a spider. Has any spider built the web in first instant? No way it's possible. Can we all grow up to be immediately mature and balanced emotionally, extraordinary individuals overnight? Nothing will happen. Overnight, what will happen is sunset will happen and sunrise will happen. Other than that, nothing is to be taken for granted, because even you may not get sleep also. Okay. And when you inquire deep, you realize that sun was never setting and rising, only the earth was moving. But to just give you a perspective, there are certain things which are just happening. Other things relating to mind, as human beings, we have to accept that change. So this mind and emotions are putting that together. Then we get into the intellectual aspect of the personality. First we saw the physical, the mental, and the emotional. Now the intellectual side. So for example, is it guaranteed that someone who has passed out of medicine from Brooklyn Hospital, that college is supposed to be one of the best medical colleges in the world, can you guarantee that doctor will never fall sick in life? We can't guarantee. We cannot guarantee anything. So what happens is intellectual intoxication. We think we study a 5-year course, that means we know everything about engineering and architecture. We do a PhD in something, we think we know everything about that. We don't know anything about it, because the true learners understand, the more and more you know something, you realize more and more you don't know about it. Correct? So it is all it is all like intellectual accomplishments are absolutely fine as long as they help you to have a balanced emotional state. Otherwise, it's useless tinsel. That's it. It's just a paper. A masters in yoga doesn't make someone enter into samadhi or transcendence at will and come out. It's just a paper. Correct? So a masters in medicine doesn't mean the person will know everything about it. It's just a name. So don't take it to the heart, all the intellectual accomplishments. Like sun rising in the east and setting in the west. That is the level of our intellect. Once you probe, you will understand that all these degrees, accomplishments, everything are there for a particular transactional need. So the transactional need cannot define who you are the real. Because there was a time when you didn't even have a school or a college degree. You still were there. Maybe you were more happy at that time. Now so much accomplishments has, like a paint coating has happened in the mind and the intellect. It's not even allowing us to enjoy. So what in tradition they will say is, just don't pick up everything and anything in the world and read. So this intellectual intoxication has to be, you have to have a full stop there. The moment you learn a new skill, if you are not putting it into practice, try to forget it. It's just a burden. It will start making you feel guilty about it. So the key thing is, it's all about unlearning actually. Because the tradition tells you are already enlightened. How are we going to reconcile that? The only way we can reconcile is to unlearn all that which is helping us from not seeing it. So we have to do all that unlearning. That happens only when we are very clear with the way we deal with our intellect. We should give weightage to intellect to the level wherein it is helping us to enjoy life and able to help us to earn a livelihood, not beyond that. Because then you will automatically bring in logic into love. You start getting in all those complexities, you will start getting in. So intellect is actually like a footwear. When you get into your sacred space, you leave the footwear. That sacred space is your inner self. So give enough weightage to intellect, not that you walk around with that always, because that is an additional burden. Because in tradition, what they say is, it's not about becoming a master or a spiritually advanced person. It is about how normal as a human being you are able to be. Normal human being, a life of a normal human being, even the great saints and masters aspire for. Because now Eckhart Tolle can't walk in the road in the New York. He will be mobbed. Right? There was a time with the same knowledge Eckhart Tolle could walk in New York streets. Nobody knew him. So if you speak to people, fame, all that which is earned has become an obstacle to their very life. So Paulo Coelho, it appears, retires into an unknown place every 6 months. He is not available for public consumption. So remember, your intellectual things can make your life miserable also. So keep your intellectual accomplishments only to get office promotions, be good at work, not to too much meddle with your inner life. Then finally, the spiritual side is nothing but how good are you in becoming a normal human being? How normal you are. Are you okay to cry? Are you okay to laugh? Are you okay to say it is okay I felt greedy? It's okay I had lust. It's okay I felt jealous. And then go about doing something about it instead of saying, no, no, how can I become greedy? I am absolutely fine. I never feel jealousy. So those things we are speaking about spirit. The spirit has none of these qualities. The spirit is completely pure. Like we were always talking about, uh, going to garage doesn't make anyone a mechanic. So how can you go to church or temple to think that you have become spiritual? How can you do that? This all the intellectual way of living and thinking has made us to feel like that. So can you suddenly get into the kitchen and say, I have become the best cook? Or you get into the garage and you say, now I went to the garage, I came back, I have become a mechanic. You can't say like that. But when you do a spiritual process, when you do a yoga process, or when you go to a church or temple, why is that you feel that you have become something different? It's a burden. So the more we are close to normalcy, they say no, the new normal. The new normal of the world is to become normal. So these are the 5 dimensions: the physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual dimensions have to be worked out. All this can be worked out when we start with things which are negotiable and non-negotiable for us in life. That will give us a priority list through which we can develop these 5 dimensions in a perfect way.